Look, I mean, I think Michael Saviour's made some really sort of relevant points, and I listened to a conversation he was making earlier where he's talking about the impact of monetary policy and that it's effectively been overstated, but he also made the point about there needing to be a global rebalancing as China has continued to rise and rise and rise, and his comments are obviously addressed toward that. Now, ultimately, does that mean that you have one form of technology, or does it mean that you can have multiple forms of technology in the case of, for example, 5G? You know, it's not about the use of technology per se. The 5G debate isn't about, you know, what routers or switches or any of these types of things. It's a question about, let's be frank, are there backdoors built into some of these hardware items which are concerning, you know, in particular Five Eyes nations and those types of things. That's not a technology play. That's actually a question about state-owned organisations or state-influenced organisations and their ability to be able to use vital pieces of infrastructure, especially as we move towards the Internet of Things and as we see an increasing reliance on technology and a lot of, you know, critical utilities and infrastructure that will rely on that technology, and a lot of Western governments not wanting to have inbuilt vulnerabilities in their infrastructure as a consequence of that. So I think it's less about the technology and more about trust, more about transparency, more about visibility around key, you know, structural items around infrastructure when it comes to that technology.
So it's not, when you're looking at the overall trade situation around the world, it's not just the US and China. There are many other sort of individual and group conversations that are being had. When you look at that, sort of the way things are lying at the moment there, what keeps you awake at night? Now, what are you most worried about?
Well, my concern is that we're continuing to see a bit of a reversion back to, I think, what have been some pretty unhealthy democratic processes. And now that might sound counterintuitive, but what I mean is that democracies have worked particularly well in building up institutions that we can trust and have faith in. Now, there clearly is a large number of people, I'm talking around the world, because you see a lot of the same sorts of moves, whether it's in the UK, to a lesser extent Australia, but certainly the US and others, where there's clearly some, in the population generally, some pushback against what they feel is a lack of progress. And I think that the sharp edge of that lack of progress, lack of prosperity, has really been the fact that people are saying, well, we want stronger political leadership, we want people who will stand up for our nation's rights more aggressively. Yeah. But I feel that that's misplaced. But you know what? It doesn't matter, because what matters is perception. And the perception in a lot of these countries is that they have been failed, or the systems aren't dealing with the challenges that are, you know, confronting them. So I think part of the real challenge for Western democracies is going to be to be able to drive home that prosperity dividend on a much broader basis, so that people feel that these institutions are empowering them.
Hi, I'm Emily Tan, and thanks for watching CNBC. You can check out more of our videos by clicking on the boxes on the screen, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more. Thanks for watching.